when I was in Malaysia and I said, so what are the key policy challenges in relation to housing, in relation to food, in relation to the status of women, and so on, the answer was, well, there's no poverty, and so we don't really have to address these particular issues. We just have our general policies. And the problem is that poor people never benefit from general policies. General policies are aimed at the middle classes or the wealthy. And unless you have a specific focus, you don't come up with those policies. The reply that I received from the new government seems to indicate that they are right back to the worst positions that were characteristic of the old administration. So their insistence, what do they say, that Malaysia stands by the absolute poverty rate of 0.4%. I find that so depressing because, first of all, no country in the world has such a low poverty rate, no country. And secondly, anyone who travels around Malaysia and meets with people knows that there are many people who are living on a precipice. It's not that Malaysia is doing much worse than other countries, it's not. But it is completely ignoring the maybe 1/5 of the population who are really experiencing poverty. And it's just unnecessary to be making economic policy as though those 1/5 of the population were all doing fine, because everyone knows they're not. So I think it's quite a depressing development, actually. I think there is an image, a self-image in Malaysia. Oh, poverty, that's in the rural areas. Of course, they are backward, they struggle to survive in some situations, but fortunately that doesn't exist in the cities. But of course, if you go, as I did, to some of the areas, not just in the peninsula, but also in Sarawak and Sabah, but even in KL, there are soup kitchens that every night are doing a thriving business. And soup kitchens are a wonderful indicator of real poverty, because no one goes to a soup kitchen unless they don't have an alternative. It's humiliating. The situation is never going to be very satisfying. The food's never going to be great. And if you line up at a soup kitchen every night, you're in serious difficulties. And to leave that to voluntary agencies, to be pretending that the figures are not nearly as high as those agencies suggest, is just to deny the reality. No, I think the politicians need to get out at night in KL and go to these areas and look at the people lining up and speak to them and understand the situation they're in.